back to the phones we go. Hello, John. Welcome to The Conspiracy Show.
Yeah, I saw a plane go overhead and release a chemtrail, and there was this black stuff falling out of it and dribbling down out of the sky, because we do realize this is about population control.
You know, this touches my heart because I've done a lot of flying. I've had on my website a picture of the inside cabin showing the tanks of the chemtrail sprayers.
When it comes to the United States being a participant in inflicting chemicals and stuff on one of their closest allies, I just don't buy that.
All right, thanks for the call. Welcome to The Conspiracy Show. My name is Richard Serret. We've all seen those strange patterns of white plumes crisscrossing the sky. They usually trail jet aircraft. But are they simply harmless emissions, mostly water vapor? Or is there something more sinister afoot?
Minnesota, Kansas, Oklahoma. There's NASA programs, there's U.S. Air Force in here, all talking about weather modification.
Tonight, we'll meet several researchers who contend that these white plumes are in fact chemtrails that contain dangerous levels of heavy metals designed to control the weather and perhaps control human population.
One can only conclude that this may be part, or in part of a depopulation agenda. So it's concerning to many people who are aware of this issue.
We'll also meet a chemtrail skeptic who says this is all just plain bad science. Tonight, our mission is to investigate these claims and follow the truth wherever it may lead. It is time to redefine reality. G. Edward Griffin is a writer and documentary filmmaker. Michael J. Murphy is a journalist and political activist from Los Angeles, and they are co-producers of What in the World Are They Spraying? What is your definition of a chemtrail, Edward?
A chemtrail I'll define as being different from a contrail, because I think it's essential to start with what a contrail is. A contrail is a normal phenomenon. It's just vapor, water vapor, that trails behind airplanes, comes out of the exhaust of their engines. Now there's such a thing as persistent contrails. One, air's got to be cold, and secondly, the air has to be extremely humid so that the moisture doesn't evaporate into the air, and so it lingers. Now chemtrails are totally different because these occur in warm and dry air. But these chemtrails are loaded with chemicals. They're loaded with heavy metals. We know that there's a lot of aluminum and a lot of barium and a lot of strontium, among other things.
You've heard all the skeptical arguments, I'm sure, but one of the things that they're saying is that at least traces of high-altitude barium would be present simply for use in wind tracking experiments. How do you respond to that?
Well, to tell you the truth, Richard, I put that in the same category as the aluminum on Mount Shasta is coming from the bottoms of skis.
Michael, how would you distinguish chemtrails?
We see complete cloud cover, and a lot of people experience adverse health effects, burning eyes, shortness of breath. We know that barium causes high blood pressure, lowers our immune system, and what's amazing, during these days, any emergency room doctor who is aware of the aerosol spraying will tell you during heavy spray days, emergency rooms are packed.
I'm here in Redwood Valley, California, to speak with Rosalind Peterson. She's the president of the California Agriculture Defense Coalition, which was formed in 2006. Its intent was to protect farmers and crop production from experimental weather modification, atmospheric heating, and geoengineering. I'm here with Rosalind Peterson, president and co-founder of the California Agriculture Defense Coalition. Rosalind, welcome to The Conspiracy Show.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here today with you.
You use the term persistent jet contrails.
I don't use the term chemtrails because it's defined as a hoax. Whenever you use the term to your elected officials, they put you in the realm of talking about only a hoax and having no basis to back up what you're talking about. Okay, this is my one-person office, and these bookcases from floor to ceiling hold documents in my research, and you can see the dates. There's 2002, 2003, 2005, alphabetically. All of these things in here were part of my early research while I was trying to read and find out what was going on in our skies and with these experiments. These are all photograph albums of the sky. I took the skies daily for years.
Dave Thomas is with us. He's president of New Mexicans for Science and Reason. Dave, welcome to The Conspiracy Show.
How are you guys doing?
Well, thank you. Dave, how do you explain these strange crisscrossing patterns in the sky?
We think chemtrails supposedly started in the late 1990s, persistent contrails that lasted for a long time, and this was all supposed to be new and never before seen, and that's just not true. And we've had contrails all the way back to the 1940s, because that's when our planes were able to get high enough, 35,000, 40,000 feet. But it's a totally natural phenomenon. It's been happening since the 1940s.
Why are they attempting to modify our weather?
Because the military believes that control of the weather by 2025 would enhance its ability to control other countries. They can interrupt crop production and food supplies as well.
Edward, if this spraying is an attempt to reduce global warming, why the big secret?
That's a good question. I think the big secret is that they have committed themselves to a position that is indefensible. They have said, this is not happening. They have said, this is very risky. They have said, we better check this out very carefully before we think about doing it. Meanwhile, they have been doing it.
Is it possible that there's something more nefarious going on, part of some depopulation agenda?
Well, not only do I think is it possible, I think that it might be in part population control. We see a lot of documents coming out, source documents from Ford Foundation, Rothschild family, the Rockefeller Foundation. So with that being said, looking at the materials that we know, that we have studied, which are only aluminum, barium, and strontium, and how toxic they are, and the effect that they have on human health, one can only conclude that this may be part, or in part of a depopulation agenda. So it's concerning to many people who are aware of this issue.
I would be very suspicious of any declaration like that, and I certainly look, the first suspect I would look at, the person holding the bloody knife in their hand, so to speak, is dirt. There's aluminum in dirt, and the wind blows the dirt into the air, and you've got aluminum in the air.
We do know that the military is releasing aluminum-coated fiberglass by the ton. It's a particulate that floats in the air for up to 20 hours and can have an impact on public health. We do know that the soot and all of the combustion from jet fuel emissions burning is highly toxic, and it's polluting our atmosphere in a worse way than what's happening from other sources, even our automobiles. And I brought this out so that you could see some pictures of some brown clouds, so that you would realize that we're not just seeing white clouds, but we're seeing this white haze and these brown clouds that are created. And it's really odd when you see them because they're so different from our beautiful white clouds.
How is human health being affected by this spraying?
Well, human health is greatly affected. We, during the film, we interviewed a lot of healthcare professionals, including a physician whose specialty is aluminum, and she was deeply concerned about Geoengineer's plans and proposals because aluminum is accumulative in the body, and what that means is over time, if we're constantly inhaling that, it will tend to build up, and it will block natural systems we've seen a dramatic increase in aluminum-related illness, and we know that it's been linked to Alzheimer's. And here in LA County, within a 10-year period, we've seen over a 200% increase in Alzheimer's alone.
We're seeing the presence of aluminum particulates in the soil or the water or in the air. Do you think it's possible?
Barium, too.
Barium. Do you think it's possible that there is...
And when people, get these samples, say, of rainwater or whatnot, and have them analyzed, and they find barium, that's because guess where you find barium? In dirt. And it's also in smokestacks. When you burn coal, it comes out of the smokestacks. So there's barium in the atmosphere.
So there's a lot of things in this country that's going on and around the world that's taking place that most people don't even know about. Minnesota, Kansas, Oklahoma. There's NASA programs, there's U.S. Air Force in here, all talking about weather modification. Okay, let me do this. There. Now, that's one of my photographs that you can see here that I put online so people can see it. You can see that there's this half circle here, and then there's another V shape here, and I don't know if you can capture it, but there's some color experiments right in there going on. So what's happening is these experiments we're starting to feel the byproducts of, because the chemicals that they're using are starting to come down to Earth, and we're breathing them as particles where they're getting into our water and air supplies. Public health has started to decline, and asthma has started to increase, and I think that that's something that's really important to know.
Is there a case study that you document in the film or that you know about?
Deborah Whitman of Environmental Voices is one example of somebody who has terrible adverse effects during heavy spray days. She's been hospitalized over 51 times with what appear to be barium-related illness. And what's amazing, people knew on certain days they were feeling ill, but didn't make a correlation until somebody made them aware of the aerosol spraying. But we know that the strontium, aluminum, barium will attack different parts of the body. Respiratory mortality has gone from number 8 to number 3 in just the past 5 years.
Talk to me a little bit about your water testing that takes place here in California.
I found that people were talking about aluminum and barium. So in order to find out what was happening in the state of California, I got the entire database for all the water tests going back to the 1970s for every single water district, every single public well. What I discovered were unusual spiking in aluminum, barium, manganese, magnesium, strontium, and a few other chemicals. And I found that they spiked all at the same time.
I know, here in Socorro, New Mexico, where I work, we had some pioneers in cloud seeding. So they'd scatter silver iodide on clouds to try to induce a rain, and it really isn't a very effective method at all. That was a flop as far as I know, and I really don't know of any active ongoing efforts to modify the weather.
Ed, I'm going to come back to the annual meeting of the American Association for the Advancement of Science. First of all, what is geoengineering all about?
Well, I think the name pretty well explains it. Geo meaning the earth. They're going to engineer or re-engineer the earth. They don't like it the way it is, so they're going to change it. It's pretty simple, and I think it's insane. But that's what geoengineering really is. And of course, they always explain it as being in the best interest of mankind. We're doing this for mankind. We're going to stop global warming. We're going to change the weather patterns so that we can improve the rainfall and have better crops and all that sort of thing. The fact that these guys are blundering and they're messing up the planet and they're causing huge health problems for mankind, and these things may never recover, that is serious enough, and I think it calls for serious and immediate action to stop it.
Here in America, we have, in more than most countries, this sort of whistleblower spirit. And where are the whistleblowers that are actually, talking about these programs? So I think if there, was a nefarious plot, somebody would have blown the whistle by now.
A Professor Rosenfeld was here speaking at an EPA meeting in 2003. He's from Israel, and he's done a lot of research on clouds. And he made the astounding statement back in 2003 that most of the clouds we see are man-made clouds. They're not real from fronts and evaporation and different things happening. It was stunning to listen to him. And Professor Gregory Benford from the University of California at Irvine, he stated in an interview that you can take a little barium and a little aluminum and you can create fluffy white clouds.
How would aerosol spraying of aluminum particulates forestall that?
Well, that's a great question, because there are many sides to that question. And again, geoengineers were proposing spraying 10 to 20 million tons of aluminum and other substances to block the sun. But to answer your question, how would that cool the planet? Well, that's debatable. Do I believe that that is the true agenda? No, I do not. I believe that there are many different agendas hidden under this umbrella.
So what do you make of the people that believe in chemtrails? Are they delusional? Are they misguided?
Basically, what people are calling chemtrails, we think, are contrails. We've had contrails all the way back to the 1940s, and the reason is simply because there's variability in the air. When we look at the sky, we can see clouds here and not there. But it's a totally natural phenomenon. It's been happening since the 1940s.
We just heard from a noted chemtrail skeptic who believes chemtrails are nothing more than contrails, which take longer than normal to dissipate. Water vapor, completely harmless. But there is, I believe, a growing body of evidence to suggest that chemtrails are real and pose a serious risk to our health, the water we drink, the air that we breathe, the soil we use to grow our food.
And as you can see, Mendocino County is almost clear of commercial airlines. However, the FAA made a third map, and one of the things that they picked up were these yellow lines, and they're called intraflights.
What are interflights?
Interflights are military flights.
So these military flights are responsible for the persistent contrails over here.
Right. We believe that more of the flights that are creating these man-made clouds in this terrible cloud cover that we're under a lot is because we have these types of military activities taking place over us.
Despite public denials that such geoengineering programs exist, history teaches us that governments and militaries have targeted their own citizens for experimentation for decades.
The United States Navy, for example, and NASA put up an aluminum oxide dust cloud over the eastern seaboard of the United States on September 19, 2009. This aluminum oxide dust cloud was to conduct physics experiments in the atmosphere above us. I don't think it's unintended. The people that are conducting the tests are fully aware that the chemicals that they're using will come back to Earth. They're fully aware of what the health effects of these chemicals are. These are not new chemicals.
So it's possible that chemtrails are being propagated secretly by multiple groups with varying agendas. The U.S. military has stated its objective to own the weather by 2025. Alarmingly high levels of aluminum oxide and barium have been found in water samples found all over California and even in the pristine wilderness surrounding Mount Shasta.
About 7 years ago, a snow test was taken on Mount Shasta, and it came up at 7 parts per billion, which is high for aluminum. Since that time, they've had a tremendous increase in what appears to be aerosol spraying, and during that time frame, the levels have increased up to 50,000 times. And then we go into the Welsbach patent to spray aerosols out of airplanes. And specifically mentioned in the Welsbach patent is aluminum oxide.
U.S. scientists have been meeting to discuss the possibility of one day implementing a geoengineering program to reduce global warming. Such a program would involve spraying hundreds of thousands of tons of aluminum oxide into the air. But researchers around the world are saying that this has been going on perhaps as early as 1990. So what's up?
Well, that is the question, isn't it? What is up? Something is up, and it's hard for me to believe that these experts are not aware that this project has been underway for a long time, in which case you come to the conclusion, well, either they're terribly stupid or they're hiding something, or they're part of a program, or they have a financial interest or some kind of an interest in concealing this from the public for now.
In other words, you don't need to own a tinfoil hat to be able to connect the dots. And you don't, in the words of Bob Dylan, need to be a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. And now we'd like to know what you think. Contact us through the website, www.theconspiracyshow.com. In the meantime, don't be afraid. Move over, Aphrodite, I'm coming home.